A Nolan Wells bombshell report tonight.
Nolan Wells bombshell report tonight.
The afternoon and evening, Nolan Wells seemingly disappears. His body found washed up at Horn Island. Good evening.
The afternoon and evening, Nolan Wells seemingly disappears. His body found washed up at Horn Island. That's the official record. A man vanishes from a sandbar packed with boats on the 4th of July, and the initial narrative suggests an accident.
What is in that autopsy?
Now I really want to see the other autopsy to see, is there trauma to the body? Is there something that happened?
But the first question any investigator asks isn't how, it's who saw it. And in this case, the answer was hiding in plain sight. Picture a photograph taken from the deck of one boat, looking out across the water. In the frame, 4 vessels are tied together in a floating cluster, drinks in hands, music likely playing. Dozens of people standing in waist-deep water. That photograph wasn't taken before Nolan Wells disappeared. It was taken during the window when no one could find him.
Well, what we're seeing here comes from this new report from the United Cajun Navy, and you're seeing several boats strung together. This is one of the first images that we've seen of this certain configuration of boats there. They're all identified, one of which was the boat that Nolan came out there on. There's several others kind of anchored with it and tied up, which begs the question of where was Nolan when this photo was taken, because it's unclear.
The United Cajun Navy compiled a timeline report from public submissions. Page 12. Several boats strung together. One of them was the boat that brought Nolan to the island. The others tied alongside. The image captures a specific configuration of people and vessels. And it raises a single, unavoidable question: where was Nolan when the shutter clicked? What time was this photo actually taken? Because what you're seeing is a potential pool of witnesses.
Hey, Kaylin, look at this. There's boat number 1. There's boat X. There's boat number 2. There's boat number 3. And there's a boat from which the photo is taken. Now, look in the water. There much has been made. Nolan Wells was drinking. Okay, well, apparently everybody was. They all have containers, open containers in the water. Okay, as far as I know, that's not a felony. Boat number 1, full of people. Boat X, full of people. Boat number 2, full of people. Boat number 3, full of people. People on the boat from which the photo was taken. Some of these boats tied together.
Boat number 1, Boaks, boat number 2, boat number 3, and the boat from which the photo was taken. Every single one, full of people. Some of these boats tied together. The implications are immediate and severe. Each registration number on each hull is a lead. Each face in the water is a potential deposition. The evidence wasn't missing. The witnesses weren't missing. They were standing right there. The paperwork already knew.
That means witnesses. See, when I look at that, I see witnesses. Other people say, hey, there's people having a good time. I see witnesses. Do you see all those people?
And a lot of them.
Who were they? Have they been spoken to? Have they been polygraphed? What can they tell me?
That is the question, right? We don't know from an investigative standpoint who has been spoken to, exactly who is in this photo, and what they have or haven't.
That means witnesses. Do you see all those people? Who are they? Have they been spoken to? Have they been polygraphed? We don't know from an investigative standpoint who has been spoken to, exactly who is in this photo, and what they have or haven't told law enforcement, because there hasn't been transparency.
But the timeline's about 3:30-ish, 4:30-ish. When the boat that Nolan came out there on leaves and starts taking on water, that's one of the pegs for the timeline. When these photos were actually taken, that is a peg for a timeline. But what we don't know is where Nolan is. There he is. You can see that image right there. But we don't know is where Nolan was when that first image that we saw with all of those boats kind of tied together.
Now, the timeline peg. These images are taken around 4:30 p.m. When the boat Nolan came on, the Triton, reportedly leaves and begins taking on water. That's the official marker. But what we don't know is where Nolan was when that first image was taken, with all those boats tied together. This is the gap. The Triton departs. A distress call is logged. And yet, according to the report compiled by civilian volunteers, a photograph potentially places someone matching his description on the beach at 4:50 p.m.
I also just wanted to point out, too, on the photo on page 14, this is one that we included, even though we could, there's a young man that matches Nolan's description, and I'm saying it that way because we can't verify that it's him in this picture. and he's partially in it because there's a girl blocking him. But it's a young, slender African American male wearing blue swim trunks, from what you could see in the picture. According to the person that submitted that photo, it was taken at approximately 4:50 p.m. Central Time on July 4th, which would have been after the GPS data says that the Triton had left Horn Island.
Page 14 of the Cajun Navy report. A young man matching Nolan's description. A young, slender African-American male wearing blue swim trunks. According to the person who submitted the photo, it was taken at approximately 40:50 p.m. Central Time on July 4th, after the GPS data says the Triton had left Horn Island. The report is careful. It notes the image cannot be verified, but it exists, and it places a question directly onto the official sequence of events.
Okay, so is this Nolan? If it is Nolan, this is at 4:50 and proves he's still on the island when the other boat, the Triton, leaves. I don't think this is Nolan. But that's just my own two eyes, 2020 and 2018. It needs to be enhanced.
If that photo is Nolan, then at 4:50, he's still on the island when the other boat, the Triton, leaves. That one timestamp, if authenticated, doesn't just adjust the timeline. It obliterates it, and then the parallel narrative fractures further. The question of who knew what and when shifts from the physical evidence to the human evidence. The friends. The girl.
They claim they begged him to board their vessel, but he said no. Let me understand this. According, Caitlin Becker, according to the mysterious Katie, not that mysterious because her sister has posted and we've obtained her photo, we think. She says he left with his friends. They say he stayed with her.
They claim they begged him to board their vessel, but he said no. According to the mysterious Katie, he left with his friends. They say he stayed with her. That's a problem.
On the boat state, they didn't know the name of the girl. They didn't know who she was. They had never seen her before. I'm paraphrasing. We can look up their exact words. Then, does it turn out they're actually texting with her about where is Nolan?
Apparently, Nancy, you have to realize a couple things here, and it's getting lost in the muck and the mire, is the friends. We use the term Nolan's friends that he went to Horn Island with. Well, you know what, Nancy? Many people have said that he didn't know Katie, they didn't know Katie before that day, and that Nolan just started talking to her. But now it appears that they, being the group of friends, were communicating.
At the outset, the friends on the boat stated they didn't know the name of the girl. They had never seen her before. Then it emerges they were actually texting with her about where Nolan was. Many people said they didn't know Katie before that day, but now it appears the group of friends were communicating with Katie and knew who she was. Why would they say they didn't know her? Call her some girl.
I want you to hear what one of them said, though, about the mysterious Katie.
I didn't wake up again until a little after 11 o'clock. And that was to my brother coming in the room being like, hey, Warren's trying to get a hold of you. Warren gets on the phone and he's just like, hey man, he was like, hey, have you talked to Nolan? Anything else? I was like, no, I haven't talked to him, man. He was with that girl last time I knew. And he was like, okay. He was like, man, we can't get a hold of him. We don't know where he's at. And I was like, man, it's Nolan. He's probably just out somewhere with that girl. Like, get a hold.
Listen to one of them. He was with that girl last time I knew. Man, we can't get a hold of him. We don't know where he's at. He's probably just out somewhere with that girl. Like, get a hold of the girl. You'll probably find Nolan. That statement assumes she's the key. But later, the same group claims they couldn't identify her. The paperwork already knew.
Katie had a convo, assumed Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out in. Katie made it home on another boat. Katie assumed the friends telling him, get on, wouldn't have left without him. Okay, so he says, I'm going back with my friends. She thinks he got on the boat. The mystery girl Wells reportedly stayed behind to speak with has been identified. Now, at the get-go, we were told no one knew who she was. He had never met her before. He had just met her and was talking to her. But her sister provides a different account of what happened.
Now, a post from Katie's sister enters the record. Katie had a conversation, assumed Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out in. Katie made it home on another boat. Katie assumed the friends were telling him, get on, wouldn't have left without him. So she believes he boarded. They claim he refused. Whenever there is a conflict in the evidence, there is a problem.
First of all, I want to thank you for calling this report what it is, and that's a timeline. And some people have called it an investigative report, and that's not accurate because, as you know, we're not investigators. And what we did, Nancy, was we asked our followers, say, hey, if anybody was there that day, you have pictures, videos, whatever, send it to us just so we can go through it, see if there's anything relevant. We took all that information and compiled it into just one digestible report of things we thought were relevant and could be helpful. Maybe they're not. Maybe law enforcement's already seen all this and it's nothing new to them. But we just wanted to be transparent about what we received.
The United Cajun Navy is clear about methodology. They are not investigators. They asked followers to send pictures and videos. They compiled what they received into a single digestible report of things they thought were relevant. Maybe law enforcement already saw it all. Maybe it's nothing new. But they were transparent about what they received.
Brian Trasher. And I'm frankly fed up with attacks on the United Cajun Navy. They're doing something, which is more than all of the haters can say. They're doing something. They have amassed evidence. They have created a timeline to the best of their ability. They have shared it with us. Unlike the autopsy that is complete, is being kept secret from us.
And yet, the backlash was immediate. They have amassed evidence. They have created a timeline to the best of their ability. They have shared it. Unlike the autopsy, which is complete and being kept secret, the institutional reflex is to dismiss. One legal analyst called the timeline a rabbit hole, a distraction. That dismissal reveals a deeper pathology.
Mobley, no offense, but you're wasting my time. I got 1 hour tonight, and you just wasted almost 1 minute of it. Every investigation starts somewhere. Let me just understand something. You have tried a lot of cases, right? That's what I was told.
A ton, and I won most of them.
Nothing like tooting your own horn. Bonk, bonk. That said, every investigation starts somewhere. Yes, I don't have the timestamp, but I can get the timestamp because I know about the photo. You start somewhere, and then you start digging, and then you find out what time it was taken. Then you find out if it was enhanced. Then you find out, is that Nolan at 4:50 and the boat has left? You enhance that audio we keep playing. You find out if they're saying, Nolan's dead. I don't know if that's real or not, but I can find out if it's real. So for you, a trial lawyer like yourself, in your own words, won most of them, evidence is not handed to you, Mobley, on a silver platter, on top of a Christmas tree. You have to find it. You have to investigate it. And that is the point of this timeline from the...
Every investigation starts somewhere. Evidence is not handed to you on a silver platter on top of a Christmas tree. You have to find it. You have to investigate it. The timeline is giving a cornucopia of evidence to start with. You start somewhere, then you start digging. Then you find out what time the photo was taken. You find out if it was enhanced. You find out if that is Nolan at 4:50 and the boat has already left.
This is all unfolding as we go to air tonight. We wait for that toxicology report. We wait for the autopsy to be revealed. We wait for a witness list to be produced. At this hour, reports a grand jury is convening to amass evidence, much the way the Cajun Navy did. If you know or think you know anything regarding this case, dial 228-769-3063. 228-769-3063.
A grand jury is reportedly convening to amass evidence much the way the Cajun Navy did, and a dedicated law enforcement tip line is active. The machinery of the state is moving. But the central question remains: what happens when a case breaks open not because of an official investigation, but despite its silence? When volunteer civilians cross-reference satellite imagery, GPS data, and social media timestamps to build what the public should have been given from the start.
American hero Deputy Sheriff Bradley Link. Thank you to our guests, but especially to you for being with us tonight as we search for the truth, aside from all the noise and the threats, the falsities, the enhancements, the alterations. The truth is there, and we will find it.
The answer sits in that photo. Page 12 of a volunteer report. 4 boats tied together. People standing in the water. A shutter clicked during the window when Nolan Wells disappeared. Nobody asked. Nobody answered. The paperwork already knew.
Nancy Grace signing off for tonight, but I'll see you tomorrow night. And until then, good night, friend. Hi, guys. Please join us on our mission to find missing people, especially children, to solve unsolved homicides.
The United Cajun Navy's full timeline report is publicly available. Find it. Look at page 12, then page 14. Then ask yourself one question in the comments below. If the Triton left at 4:31 according to GPS, and a photograph exists from 4:50, who was the last person to see Nolan Wells alive, and why hasn't that person been named?